Hello and welcome to the Bison Basketball Show. I'm Brian Shawn. A light week for both the North Dakota State men's and women's basketball teams, each hosting Western Illinois at the Shields Center this past week, trying to even up their league records at 2-2. The Bison men first on tap against the Leathernecks last Thursday. Freshman forward Sam Griesel making his first start in nearly 2 months after coming back from injury, but it would be a sophomore teammate getting the Bison off to a fast start. Rocky Cruiser scoring NDSU's first 8 points of the night. He finished with 13 overall. Fellow big man Dangu picked up right where he left off, scoring 11 first-half points on 5 of 8 shooting as the Bison build an early 9-point lead. Tyson Ward is averaging nearly 17 points per game in Summit League play, and he had another big performance, going coast to coast for the acrobatic lay-in and 2 of his game-high 17 points. The Leathernecks would rally back as sophomore Kobe Webster steps back and hits the tough 3 in transition. He had 17 to lead the team and trim the lead to 7. But North Dakota State closing that first half strong. Chris Quayle driving and finding Griesel for the lay-in. He also finished in double-figure scoring with 12 points as the Bison take an 11-point lead into the locker room. NDSU starts the second half on a 13-4 run. Bison out and running again as Ward follows up the Griesel miss with a putback jam. He had a game-high 13 rebounds and his first double-double of the season. Vinny Shahid also got rolling in the second half, scoring all 13 of his points in the final 20 minutes as the lead grows to 22. Western Illinois tried to put together one final push, but Jared Samuelson's three-pointer with just under 9 minutes left put the game away. He was the 6th North Dakota State player in double-figure scoring as the Bison roll to the 85-69 victory, shooting over 50% from the field and 11 of 23 from outside the arc.
We came out with a lot of emotion at the beginning of the game, and that propelled us to this win, I think. And just saw the box score. We had like 5 or 6 guys in double figures, which is kind of our identity as a team. I think we're very our depth is a big part of our team, and I think that showed tonight.
It even goes back to the Fort Wayne game where we lost on our home floor, and then we went to Omaha, and then we lost, and it really compounded. I think that we went into practice this past couple days, and we were ready to come in here and give our fans what they really needed, and that was a win.
We now welcome in NDSU men's basketball coach Dave Richman to the set to talk about the Bison's victory over Western Illinois at home this last week. And Dave, I know getting back on your home floor, anxious to do that. You had a little tune-up against Dickinson, but played really well, I thought, for all 40 minutes in that game.
Yeah, very, very pleased. You know, you're going back and still you have that sour taste of that Omaha game in your mouth a little bit, and it was good to get back on the court against Dickinson State and see Josh Vaughn again. But very, very pleased with the way our guys came out in both halves against Western Illinois. Western Illinois team that was kind of fluctuating right where we were at 1-2, had gotten a good home win against Denver. So it was important that we get back and take care of business at home. You go back to our Fort Wayne game when we weren't able to finish the game. But start to finish, I thought our guys were really locked in. It was fun to see.
You know, and it's funny how the league works, the league schedule works out, and you and I have talked about this at length before, but you play 3 right away, and then you kind of have this lull, and now you have another lull, so to speak. As a coach, do you get more meaningful practices in that way, or do you try not to do too much when you're trying to get them ready, or how do you do that?
You know, I think to your point, Brian, it's really important to get a little bit of both. I think even going back to like Saturday when most teams were playing, we were able to just do some things from an adjustment standpoint, work on a few things that from situational standpoint and get that in, and then settle back in here, you know, on Monday and Tuesday to a normal routine. And so, but also the biggest thing, one of the biggest things I've learned is clear mind and fresh legs. And so anytime you have an opportunity to get your guys off, even for consecutive days or anything like that, and refresh, recharge a little bit, it's good to do. And so we hopefully over the course of this longer stretch with a few games that we've accomplished both of those things.
You know, one thing in the Western Illinois game that stood out to me, Dave, is it wasn't just one guy. It was like 6 guys. I think 5 in double figures. A lot of different guys contributed in different ways. I know that's probably the way you want to win games and play games, is trying to be multidimensional that way, and that was probably the best we've seen throughout this season. Was how your guys were able to do that. Yeah,
we've always felt that, Brian. You know, our depth and versatility. We got some guys that, you know, aren't even in the rotation right now that we think are very good players. And you know, you mentioned 6, and you know, all 8 that played, I felt really contributed. Even a guy like Chris Quayle coming off the bench and playing some point for us a little bit, and just being locked in defensively too. And so it's fun to see the balanced scoring. It's fun to see 8 guys get in there and contribute to a pretty decisive victory, and hopefully going forward, that can really be our identity.
And we've seen some teams that really do shorten up the bench, and you have the luxury of not having to do that. Sam Griesel back, looked, I thought, pretty good in his first start since coming back from injury. Cameron Hunter at some point will be back, so the bench only gets deeper, which can only be good here in February and March, right?
Yeah, no question, and I think that's great going forward. As you know, throughout the course of all the way up until the tournament in March, that you knock on wood, but you don't want any injuries, but that certainly plays a factor. Fatigue in the back-to-back games or Thursday, Saturday games, and that's certainly a luxury too. But I also think it was very important to give our guys specifics, and not just the guys that maybe are on the outside looking into the rotation, but the guys that are coming off the bench. Here's what your minutes look like. Here's what your role is expected. And I think when you have that understanding, you can go out there and flourish a little bit better.
Well, now the road gets to be on the road. You play 5 of your next 6 on the road, starting with Denver on Wednesday night, a place that has never been easy to play in and win, but Rodney Billups' crew, I know, still hungry for that first conference victory as well.
Yeah, and that's the scary part. That they're 0-5 in league right now, but the talented team is the reason they were picked third, and Rodney can obviously coach, and they've got a great group. It starts with the guy that feels like he's been there forever, and Joe Rozga too. But again, it's about us, Brian, and if we're going to be who we want to be, it's important that we're able to take the show on the road a little bit, not a little bit, a lot of bit. And I think what you got to find out is there's going to be adversity no matter what, and your mental toughness, how you can overcome that adversity, how you can stick together as a group no matter those circumstances, is really going to define how you do over the course of the long haul, but in particular in your road games.
Plus North Dakota coming to town on Saturday. That'll be fun too, so we're looking forward to that.
That's always a fun one.
Thanks for the time, Dave. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Brian.
Stay with us here on the Bison Basketball Show. Bison play-by-play man Jeff Culhane stops by the studio. We'll get his thoughts after this.
The Bison Basketball Show on Midco Sports Network is presented by Nodak Insurance Company and Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
Welcome back to the Bison Basketball Show. Jeff Culhane from the Bison Radio Network joining us here on the set to talk a little bit about the Bison men's hoops team. And so far, Jeff, some ups and downs.
Yep.
It's been kind of a roller coaster ride with this group, but at the same time, we've seen kind of what they can be, and we saw that against the Leathernecks last week.
It's a group that obviously has its youth. I know you've talked to Coach Richman about that on this show. We've discussed that as well during the regular season. A team that doesn't have a senior. So guys trying to figure out their roles, and you've got returners that are, I think, also learning the leadership side of the coin for this basketball team, and younger players emerging at the same time, Brian. Tyson Ward had a brief moment earlier in the season where he needed to sort of take a look at what was important to him as far as being a part of this basketball team. I thought it was a great move by David Richman, and he has responded. Tyson Ward has been one of the best players in the Summit League over the last month of the regular season. You look at a guy like Dangu as well, who I think is starting to figure out what it takes to play at this level as a Division I college basketball player. And some of the younger guys, Rocky Cruiser, I think, is gaining more confidence. Getting Sam Griesel back, you can see it. He's only played in 8 or 9 games here this season, but just the way he handles himself on the floor, the way he moves on the floor as well, it shows a lot of promise for his future.
Now you go on the road 5 of the next 6 games, and even Dave said it in the last segment. This is where we're going to find out kind of what we're made of. We go to Denver, we come back and play North Dakota, and then we got 4 straight on the road. These next 3 weeks are going to be very telling to find out where North Dakota State fits in this whole Summit League puzzle.
Yeah, it's a big portion of the schedule right here, as you said it. Going on the road for a young team that has not won a game on the road, in a true road game yet this season, is going to be huge. And it starts out tonight against Denver, a team that has had their struggles. Who would have thought Denver, led by Rodney Billups and having guys like Joe Rozga and some of the transfers they have on this basketball team this year, would be 0-5 to start Summit League play. So I don't know what the magic formula is for NDSU to win on the road. Certainly, if David Richman had the right ingredients, he'd probably bottle it and sell it to everybody else out there right now. But it's a great opportunity, I think, starting with the Denver game for the Bison. These young guys have to emerge, and they've got to step up and realize that, hey, what we have done so far away from the Shack hasn't quite been good enough yet. So let's listen to what David Richman has to say for us and this coaching staff, put it all together and find a full 40 minutes on the road. I think if they do that, I think if this young basketball team does that, Brian, I think you're going to see this team really take off and gain a ton of confidence moving forward.
I know one area that Dave Richman wants things to improve is certainly on the defensive end. And I think he believes they can be much better than what they have shown so far, and that typically travels much better.
Yeah.
When you're going to win the road games, you got to find a way to keep other teams from scoring and just kind of way to hang in the game. And you get the feeling that if they can figure that out, the Bison could be a pretty dangerous team once February comes around.
And I think it started in the Western Illinois game, to your point. I think they played their best basketball game of the season against the Leathernecks on both ends of the floor. I think defensively you saw them really do a nice job of taking the dribble drive penetration aspect of Western's game out of the equation. Last year they really struggled with that in both games, if you remember, with Kobe Webster at the Shack scoring, I believe it was 19 points in the first 9 minutes of that game. And then on the road in Macomb, Isaac Johnson had a career-high 29 points that night at Western Hall. So I thought in that game versus Western, this team took a step forward. It was a win they needed to have. They played with a sense of urgency, without a doubt, and did a nice job, especially on the defensive end, to your point. I think in the game versus Denver, getting off to a great start, not allowing Joe Rosga and company to get into a rhythm is going to be very, very important.
And then North Dakota Saturday, always
big
fun.
Game.
That's all. It's going to be a big one too.
Big game.
Always at the Shack. Jeff, thanks as always for the time. Appreciate you stopping by.
Always great.
Jeff Culhane joining us here on the Bison Basketball Show. Stay with us. Maren Walseth and the Bison women trying to overcome a losing streak to Western Illinois. The Bison women highlights and reaction after this timeout. Welcome back to the show. The North Dakota State women's basketball team has taken some lumps over the last few years from Western Illinois, but the Bison trying to change that this past week at home. Both teams coming in 1-2 in Summit League play. The Bison looking to snap a 9-game losing streak to the Leathernecks and grabbing the lead after a strong first quarter. A big game for Michelle Geislerova. She is left open for the three in transition and knocks it down. A very efficient game for Tyra Spencer as well, who played 36 minutes. She was 4 of 6 from the floor, scored 9 points, grabbed 6 rebounds, and dished out 3 assists on the night. North Dakota State continued to attack the zone and find some soft spots underneath. Spencer to Geislerova to Emily Dietz for 2 of her 6 points. But Western Illinois finished the second quarter on a 14-2 run. Olivia Kaufman to Annabelle Gredinger for 3. She had 14 points, and the Leathernecks would lead by 5 at halftime. The game remained close in the second half, circling Rimdahl, chipping in with 7 points off the bench and was 3 of 3 from the floor. Sofia Jovalovic played 22 minutes off the bench as well and provided a huge boost in critical times. With time running out in the third quarter, she gives the Bison the lead with the lay-in. It's 49-47 heading into the fourth, where Geislerova scored 10 of her game-high 29 points. The jumper in transition would give NDSU a 3-point lead. Then with the game tied at 60, she gives her team the lead for good, knocking down her 5th three-pointer of the night. NDSU holds Western Illinois to no points in the final 4 minutes of the contest to win it 68-60. The Bison committed just 5 second-half turnovers and had 13 second-chance points to even up their conference record at 2-2.
It feels really, really good. They've always been a hard team to beat, and we've been struggling for a little bit, so I think that that'll give us some confidence.
I think this is a really good encouragement, and it also shows that we can compete with the Summit League teams, and that's just great. We were playing hard and competing. That felt really good. We know what we're capable of, but sometimes we just struggle to show it and bring it on the floor, and today we brought it, and I'm happy that we showed it tonight.
We now welcome in NDSU women's basketball coach Maren Walseth to the set to talk about the Bison's victory over Western Illinois and look ahead to another busy week. But first of all, beating Western Illinois, a team that's kind of had your number the last couple of years, to do what you did in the second half, limit the turnovers, and kind of make it your type of tempo and game, I think that was really the key to picking up that victory.
You said the right word there, tempo. The pace that the game was played at was much more conducive to the Bison than it was to Western Illinois. With only 3 teams holding them to 60 or fewer points in their season so far, that puts us in a good company and gets us the victory.
You could almost sense the confidence from some of the players afterwards, talking to them about how big that was for them, what a boost that was for them moving forward. Maybe when you get into that type of game again, you can shut teams down. I mean, I think you held them scoreless the last 4 minutes of the game and finished the game on an 8-0 run.
Absolutely. When you look at the week of practice and the game plan and the effort, mental and physical effort that our team put in, for them to then carry it out for 37 minutes of the 40, but really come away strong at the end, winning, playing to win versus just holding on, really gives us a lot of confidence knowing that we can execute a game plan and we can come out victorious.
I know Michelle Geislerova had what she would certainly call disappointing shooting performance at Omaha, but then bouncing back, hitting 5 of 10 from 3, scoring 29 points, hitting some big shots at crunch time in the fourth quarter. Another kid where confidence can only help her, right?
Absolutely. And I think when you go back and look at her game, she was very mobile. She wasn't standing in one spot. Any player, but especially a really good shooter, if you stand in one spot, defense knows exactly where you are the whole possession. She did a great job of flashing the logo, exiting, putting herself in different situations, forcing the defense to communicate where she was.
Time to go back out on the road now. You play Denver, then you host North Dakota on Sunday, another rival game, which, so to speak. Talk about the week ahead. This should be interesting to see kind of where your team's at with these two opponents.
Yes, it is. We've gone 2 weeks of just one game, and now it's, let's turn up the energy, let's turn up the travel, and let's get after it. So going down to Denver and then hosting not only UND, but our alums back for the UND game will be great.
And then in addition to that too, Maren, you've had these lulls where you've played and then you go a while without playing. Is it kind of nice to have 2 games in a week and try to get into a rhythm a little bit?
I think that the rhythm that you're talking about and the energy, certainly we're excited to play any game, whether we got 6 days between it or not, but knowing that there's just another one coming, there's another one coming, really we can pick up some momentum.
All right, Maren, thanks as always for the time. Good luck at Denver, and we'll see you Sunday.
Thank you much.
Maren Walseth joining us here on the Bison Basketball Show. Stay with us after this break. Keith Brake, NDSU women's basketball play-by-play man on the radio side, stops by. Welcome back to the Bison Basketball Show. Bison play-by-play man on the women's side, Keith Brake, joining us here in the studio. North Dakota State 2-2 in the Summit League now, and kind of find themselves in the middle of the pack. Big home win over Western Illinois, a team they had not beaten since 2012. That was a big victory, I think, for this program. Maybe some confidence moving forward with a lot of road games still on the slate.
Yeah, Brian, and I think the big thing for North Dakota State is when you look at a home win like that, you see Western then turn around and go up to Grand Forks and beat UND, and you realize that this league, after about the top 3 teams, is completely wide open. And North Dakota State getting teams at home might be the way that they climb the Summit League ladder. Going to Omaha, they get that 14-0 run in the second quarter, and they make it a game at halftime, and then it completely gets away from them at the start of the third quarter. Omaha comes out and scores 19 of the next 30 points and stretches it back to a double-digit lead. But you get Western here. This is a team that likes to light it up. They like to force you into mistakes, and they did that. 19 turnovers for North Dakota State, but the Leathernecks just missed layups, and the Bison took advantage of a defense that's not necessarily as comfortable running J.D. Gravina's zone. So the Bison getting to 2-2 with that win is huge, and huge for their confidence in terms of getting the offense back on the right track, making shots, seeing the ball go through the hoop, and being able to grind out a game against a high-tempo team. Maren Walseth likes to talk about playing at our pace, and it's been tough to define what that is, but for this team, maybe it's gumming up the works and playing games in the half court like they did against Western on Friday.
Yeah, and you're holding a team like Western Illinois that's averaging almost 80 points a game to 60. That was certainly a positive step for North Dakota State. Maybe you do got to play a game like Oral Roberts does, kind of in the 60s, and try to grind them out a little bit. Now going to Denver, a team that a lot like Western Illinois likes to shoot the threes, and then coming back to host North Dakota. It'll be interesting to see how this team responds after having some success at home and going on the road to a place like Denver, a team that's beaten South Dakota on their home floor, and then coming back here and taking on a North Dakota team that's certainly going to be hungry after probably a disappointing loss in their eyes to Western as well.
Yeah, and having watched North Dakota in Florida, I'd say UND did not wow me, but Lexi Claybo is kind of like on the men's side. We saw John Conchar in the Shack, and he willed Purdue-Fort Wayne to an overtime win over NDSU. Lexi Claybo is that kind of player. She can will a team to a win. Denver doesn't have a player like that, but as a team, they shoot the ball a lot. They don't necessarily shoot it well all the time. It's sometimes very hot and cold, and Lauren Lovin's emblematic of that. When she's hitting threes, they are going to beat anybody on any given day. When she's not, it's up in the air. So Denver is a team that Jim Turgeon's got buying into a system. It's a group effort to win them games, whereas UND very reliant on that single star that you see so many mid-major teams use to carry them forward. So North Dakota State, in a way, is kind of a blend of the two, because you've got Michelle Geislerova, who is the star, and then the other players just kind of have to buy into a team effort. But if Michelle's scoring points, the team's got a chance to win.
And we saw that with the 29 she scored against Western Illinois. Keith, thanks for stopping by.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Stay with us. After this break, we will come back and wrap up Bison Basketball Show here this week.
The Bison Basketball Show on Midco Sports Network is presented by No-Dak Insurance Company and Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
Back to put a wrap on this week's show as we get you set for the coming week. The Bison men will hit the road to Denver for a matchup with the Pioneers at 8 p.m. Wednesday before returning home to host in-state rival North Dakota on Saturday at 2 p.m. on Midco Sports Network. The pregame show gets rolling at 1:45. The Bison women are also at Denver this week, set for a Thursday 8 p.m. tip at Magnus Arena, and will also play host to North Dakota on Sunday afternoon at 1 p.m. Pregame will get you ready starting at 12:45 on Midco SN as well. That'll do it for this week. Enjoy the games. We'll see you next time.